West Coast Marathon continues. This is indeed a live broadcast of the Ryan Show FM, broadcasting pretty much everywhere. We try to hit every single country there is. One day, Mr. Ryan Glover, we will include Antarctica on our syndication journey. But until then, we are on the West Coast. This is TKK Radio 98.1 FM, Boston, Hit FM, Calabar, Nigeria. We're just all over the place. And joining us tonight, I think this might be the first time we ever had him on the show, although we've worked with him extensively behind the scenes in bringing down scam artists and putting a light on the truth, all types of things over the years. Ladies and gentlemen, people out there listening, everything in between the ladies and gentlemen, which we're going to get into because Mr. Ryan Glover is here. Give it up.
Yeah.
It's good to have you here, man.
Man, I'm glad to be here.
Yo, I knew you were a jack of all trades, knew you were a Swiss Army knife, knew you could write, didn't know you could rap. Recently put out an Instagram message. Nora and I went and we sent messages to everybody in our inbox and said, guys, this is your chance to get free airplay on TKK Radio if it's a fire-ass song. I thought you were going to send that message out to rappers, but instead I get an email from Ryan Glover, and the man's got bars. Holy crap. So how long have you been rapping for, man?
Man, I started rapping in high school. Like I would just like write rhymes in like study hall, and then we would do like little ciphers and stuff. So I went to like a real big hip-hop school. Like everybody like rapped. So like it was just like, it was just like something that we did, and like we would like try out our bars and stuff and everything. And a couple of the rappers from my school and stuff and everything, they ended up getting signed. And
Who were some of the rappers you went to school with?
Well, I went to School of Knowledge from Kids in the Hall. He was like signed to Raucous, and like Duck Down, and but like he was actually in my graduating class. And then there was another rapper. He was like younger than me. His name's like Ad2. He's like a pretty like big underground rapper. And then like there was a couple other people that did like their things. And then before me, Common Sense went to my high school. So.
That's pretty big. I read that in the bio. Also, Kel from Keenan and Cal.
Yeah, Kel Mitchell. Yep, he went there before he was on All That. Yep.
Yeah, there's something about going to school at a place where there's a lot of greatness that stems from that school. There's almost like an inner competition that happens between the great men and women that graduate from these high schools. So it's kind of cool how that works. Everybody's kind of boosting each other up. And you also played basketball back in the day too, which is something I didn't expect.
Yeah. I could hoop. Like, a lot of people like, probably were surprised like how far like I took it. Like, but like I played, I had some really, big games, like, on different levels. But like the highest I ever took it to, I like tried out for the NBA Summer League and stuff and everything. Yeah, and I grew up like around like a lot of like really great hoopers and stuff and everything. Like I lived right across the street from like Cordell Henry. So he was like the point guard for Whitney Young, the state championship team that had Quinn Richardson. And then he also like he played at Marquette with like Dwayne Wade. And yeah. So like I played with like a lot of like people that went on to play in the NBA and stuff like that and stuff and everything. I was only like 5'11". I think I could have at the most I could have just played like Division I basketball, but I went to a Division III school. So
hey, you can still hoop though, right?
Yeah. So
here we go.
Yeah.
So I say all this because acting surprised, because when I met you, it not only were you a journalist, but a conservative journalist, which is something I didn't expect. Even when I first met you, it was through a Grandmaster Kaz article that you had written about the show. Great article. Still very appreciative of that. I think it was titled Ryan Verneuille is it why he is a culture vulture, or is he not a culture? What the hell is the name of the title?
Is Ryan Verneuille a culture vulture?
Yeah, just asking the question. I love it. They've been asking that for years, people, ever since I started making sushi. But yeah, so people just I didn't expect it when I saw you arguing with people online, arguing with Talib Kweli and all these other super left-wing influencers on Twitter and other places like that. So I just, it's cool to see how Ryan Glover encompasses so much. It's more than just the media. It's more than just the blog site. You've been out here, man.
Yeah. And, like I believe in family. I still consider myself a conservative. I don't like subscribe to necessarily like I get people from like the right and the left. And that's what's like, kind of like disheartening because like, the people on the right don't necessarily support me either. I have stories like, where I've had issues with them. And then the stories like, like people like Talib Kweli, where he just I think I asked him like a question about something that he said in the DJ Vlad interview about basically I don't even remember what he said, but like it wasn't true. Oh, he was saying like how illegal immigration doesn't hurt like the black community. And I was
Mm.
pointing out and stuff, everything like these statistics and stuff, and everything that show like that illegal immigration specifically does hurt the black community. And then he just started going in on me about like nothing about like what I was talking to him about. He was just like making fun of me, like posting like old pictures and stuff because like I'm an actor, so like there's a lot of crazy pictures. It was a particular picture that he was posting. I'm in a white penis costume outside of Harvard Yard, promoting the vagina monologues.
Yeah.
It is out of context. I
And
mean,
so,
it just
oh, that's ammo. That's big ammo. And Talib Kweli, he's not known to hold punches. This dude is fighting with everybody on the internet.
yeah, and we continued that until his page was eventually deleted on Twitter. But like we were continuously going at it. He's not a person who gives up. But like after that, like I felt like I won. So
Yeah, I mean they deleted his page. That's not
yeah,
happening anymore. Now with Elon Musk over there, there's
right.
gonna be a
So
lot of
yeah,
fighting over on Twitter now. Twitter's
yeah, but
officially a war ground.
the sad thing was like though, like actually, it's like you kind of feel bored like after like he was deleted because it's like like Twitter is just not the same. I actually like, I believe in freedom of speech. And like, I think like, he had a right to say like, some of the things. I think maybe it went a little bit too far. Like we both made certain remarks and stuff that I think like we probably regretted at the time, but I don't have anything against him personally. I really admired him. I actually told him that, like, I really looked up to him and he was one of the artists and stuff, everything. Like when I first started rapping, like, the comparisons were to like Talib Kweli. And like, I definitely like, grew up, listening to Black Star. I grew up like, listening to all the artists on Raucous and stuff. So I have a lot of respect for him. I like what he's doing now, like with the media aspect of it. But like, I kind of felt like he was kind of like, threatened by me, because like I
Mm.
was coming with like, specific facts and stuff and everything. Like, I'm not like somebody and stuff and everything. Like a lot of artists and stuff and everything I know is like they don't necessarily do like any research. Like, how are you going to tell me like, when you don't even know the three branches of government? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so like, how are you gonna tell me about like government or like, policy or things of that nature? And like I've actually studied these things at like a graduate level and read books and stuff to formulate my opinion. And like one of the things I've noticed and stuff, everything with a lot of like people, they're not necessarily informed, like
Yeah.
where they're really like, they'll have an opinion, that they're voting Democrat, but they can't tell you why, or they can't tell you the policies that these particular politicians stand for. And when I ask you about the policies and stuff, no, I don't agree with that, so
Yeah.
but and I'm cool with like a lot of Democrats because I've worked for Democratic campaigns and stuff because I lived in Massachusetts, which is a mostly blue state. So like I worked on Democratic campaigns, like I worked on Joe Kennedy's campaign when he was running against Ed Markey for senator, but he ended up losing and stuff and everything. Ed Markey, who like was known racist, he was against integration. So you know,
Yeah, you know what it is? It's people are forming opinions based on other people's opinions, not on opening up textbooks and studying the government and studying how things work. Just emotionally fueled opinions that they hear and it might sound right at the time, and then they go and then they just retort it on Twitter. When you have a huge platform like Talib Kweli, you're going to run into somebody like yourself that actually is informed, and you're going to end up name calling and losing an argument, because that's the one way to lose an argument is just by name calling, making fun of somebody in a penis suit. It makes no sense.
no, but I just was curious to see what his perspective was, and
Mm.
like he answered it for me. It was kind of like what I thought. Um, and he was looking at it from as far as like a pan-Africanist point of view, which like I probably like was a pan-Africanist like at the beginning, like but like when I started like reading and like learning about like politics and stuff, everything, my views changed. And like I identify like now like more so to the right because there's certain views on the left that I just don't agree with. And I think like mostly like in hip hop, like most people agree with like my views. They're not for like certain things. There's some people who like under no circumstances that are informed that like aren't viewing like to the right, and I understand their reasoning for that. But like some on some things I'm to the left, like probably like criminal justice is a big issue and stuff, everything. But if you look at the Trump presidency, he was doing a lot of like things for criminal justice, and you're not seeing that in the Joe Biden administration. Brittany Griner is still in prison, in Russia.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, she's not coming out anytime soon.
yeah,
Unless we
yeah,
give the Russian Tony Starks up in some type of trade-off, it seems. But
right.
we're going to get into more Trump, more Bernie Sanders, a little bit more politics. We're going to play your song, though, first. And come back and learn a little bit more about that. Why don't we start by let's just introduce this song, a little background to the single we're about to play.
Oh man, so the song's
All
called
Chillo's Eve, by the way, is a great name for a song.
All Shiloh's Eve.
All right. So it's a good thing that you said this. Shiloh, as in Shottown. Okay.
Yeah. So
I thought it was some type of like a Halloween type thing for a second when I read it before I listened to it. All
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah. It's a Halloween inspired song. I like, I just wanted to like do a song that reflected like the streets of Chicago during Halloween, and
Not a very good place to be, from what I've read.
not at all.
Scary out there. All right, we're gonna get into it. This is the Ryan Show FM. The West Coast Marathon continues from New York to Chi-Town all the way out to LA. This is the Ryan Show FM. Don't go nowhere, folks. Ryan Glover's with me. We'll be back. Just spooky. What a spooky song that was. Ryan Glover knows how to rap. He's not just writing. He's not just arguing with our favorite rappers on Twitter. He's not just dressed in a penis suit. The man's got bars. Ryan Glover in studio with me here for the West Coast Marathon. This is the Ryan Show FM, a semi-live broadcast. It's live. If you're here right now, it's live. It's good to be here, Mr. Glover. That song, haunting, chilling. So tell me, what was your experience like in Chicago on Halloween? Any good stories?
Yeah, like I'm sure I have like a bunch of good stories on
Best
Halloween.
story, craziest thing you've ever seen on Halloween in Chicago.
I think like the best thing would be like going to parties like like at University of Chicago, like and like seeing all the beautiful girls like dressed up in different costumes and stuff, everything, because it's like I guess it's the rule that girls have to dress slutty like on Halloween or something. So like I always enjoy stuff
Tradition.
like that. Yeah.
That's
So
an American pastime for the girls to dress up like thoughts on Halloween. I wonder when that started, though, Ryan. That's a very, very good point. That's something that you should research, because you look at the old school Halloween costumes, horrifying. They were like pulling skin off of dead bodies' faces and putting them on themselves. I don't know if you've seen like Texas Chainsaw Massacre type masks before
yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You look and you see all the school kids dressed up in just horrifying costumes. But we can ask the listeners out there. We are on Instagram at The Ryan Show. And Ryan, where are you on Instagram?
So Ryan Glover 187. That's my Instagram.
Any significance, or are you just trying to blast on an undercover?
No, I like I thought it was just like catchy and stuff and everything. So like I ended that. I have another Instagram, but I'm locked out of that Instagram. So like I had to start a new one. So like that was the one I started. I didn't want it to be similar to the other one.
Makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're on Instagram. Let us know. We're gonna have some Instagram stories in there, some fun questions for people to answer, and the question of the day: when did girls start dressing like thoughts on Halloween? We're gonna leave it up to the audience to decide that one. Mr. Glover, I heard a really cool story that you were behind a piece of viral content back in 2019 with Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
The baby video. Could you tell me a little bit more about that? How did it come to be and what came out of that? Because that's pretty crazy stuff that you went viral for that.
Yeah, so he was in New Hampshire, and like I was doing like throughout you've seen like the pictures and the videos, I would like go out to meet like the different Democratic candidates. And I would like video and like I would post about it on my blog. And like around this time and stuff, I like started doing a lot of interviews with like different conservative influencers. And like I did an interview with Kathy Jew. And my interview with Kathy Jew, she was a Miss Michigan candidate. Like, they got her crown taken because she was a Trump supporter, allegedly. Like,
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. So like, because of the attention of that interview, the White House, like, started paying attention to my page. And like I posted the Bernie Sanders video, and they took that clip and it ended up on Fox News, and ended up on Hannity.com, and I ended up getting invited to the White House.
That is insane. So how did that work out? Like the CIA just hit you up and was like, "Yeah, this is a great piece of content. You're really helping us out here." How did it go down exactly? They just
No,
how they contact you?
it was like it was like the person who runs the social media. I forget his name, like, but it was like a guy, like, you know what I mean, who runs the social media and stuff, and he looks for like pieces of content and stuff. And he was like, "Hey, like, you know," and
Wow.
stuff, everything, like, you know, "We like what you're doing," and stuff, everything. And then like I ended up getting invitation, you know, shortly after that to the White House. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go to the White House to meet Trump and stuff, everything," like, you know, but it didn't end up happening that way.
What do you mean? What happened?
So this funny story. So I bought a $2,000 suit because I want to be nice. You know, I want to look fresh.
Yeah,
I
of
went to the
course.
White House and stuff. So like I went to the White House, and like basically there's I've wrote some very like harsh criticism about President Trump prior to that, which kind of like which is another reason why conservatives don't like me, because if anything, I'm truthful like with my
Yeah.
criticism. I don't like I'm not like the typical conservative where like they agree with everything, like, you know, Trump says something racist and stuff, he didn't mean it, you know. Like, you
Yeah.
know, I believe in holding people accountable. And I wrote some critical things that I think like about Candace Owens that I think she chuckled at, but like, you know, I think they had the last laugh because they were like, "Okay, like, but you're not going into the White House." So
Wow. So they banned
yeah,
you because of things that you had written. That's crazy.
yeah,
You came up with the viral content to bring down Bernie Sanders.
yeah, yeah. Like, you know, it was cool, but like I got to go there and I met the influencers, but I kind of felt like a lot of them were just like necessarily threatened by me because, like, you know, a lot of those people and stuff, everything, they're not really conservatives. And the reason I know they aren't conservatives because I've been conservative longer than them. Like I actually, like, you know, volunteered, like, you know, I worked on a political action committee for like Mitt Romney, like, you know, prior to that. That's how like I ended up becoming a conservative, because of Mitt
Wow.
Romney. And like, you know, it was at a point, like, you know, when I was like looking for a job, and like I had always volunteered for Democratic campaigns, but they never paid me. And so like I was like, you know,
That's a that you figure out the hard way. Wow.
yeah, like I started doing things for like the Republic. Everything I've done for like the Republican Party, they paid me. They pay you to go to these events. It's not like, you know, and stuff, everything like it's something you're doing. Like they respect like money, and like, you know what I mean, they believe in compensating you. And I that's a stark difference between the Democratic campaign. Like I worked on the Rahm Emanuel campaign, and like, you know, I like, you know, you have to beg people to get the college credit for that, or, you know, so
Wow. That is crazy. So where does a guy like you go that is getting criticism from the conservatives, getting conservative from the liberals, just because you're telling your opinion, coming with the facts? It seems that the amount of people and journalists that are lying in the middle are just becoming less and less. So, someone like myself, where do we go? Not just for our news, but like a journalist like yourself that find yourself in this position, what do you end up doing? You have to start your own media outlet. Where do you gravitate to?
yeah, I mean, I still write for other media outlets, but like I'm more so focused on, like, you know, building my own blog. Like I was doing like a lot of work for the Packy, like in Massachusetts when I
Mm.
was there, and that was it was growing, but like I realized and stuff, everything that I wanted to put into my own blog, and turn that success and stuff, everything into like the work that I'm doing. So I focus on hardcore content, like, you know, deep research. Like, you know, I recently did on Ryan Glover Media, I uncovered a comedian in Chicago who's being blackmailed by a man from Benign because of the mutual masturbation video. So like I look for like interesting content and stuff, stories that other media outlets aren't covering. Because I mean, there's a lot of space and stuff, everything in media to cover things that, you know, people are interested in and not necessarily, like, you know, devoting the time to. So I mean, I thought that was an interesting story.
How do you distribute the stories out there without a big machine behind you? Do you like? I can imagine it must feel like pissing in the wind, for lack of better words, sometimes when you're fighting against all this pay to play and all this money behind these blogs, messing with the Google SEOs and algorithms. How do you combat that?
You know what? Like what I found is that if it connects, it resonates with people. So like I one of the people that I really admire is Thomas Friedman. And he talks about, like, you know, basically like, good journalism is like when you do like, like one of like, several things. So like if you inform people, or if you tell them something they didn't know, or if you make people cry, or you make people laugh, like, so like, all the time, like when I'm writing, I have that in mind. Like I'm focusing on like, like before I write a piece, like now is like who am I writing this for?
Mm.
And like, what is the purpose of this piece and stuff and everything. I felt like the piece I did with the mutual masturbation, uh, I'm not slamming the guy, like, you know what I mean, and stuff, who's
No
really
pun
funny.
intended.
Yeah, name Michi Hall for masturbating, because
Mm.
we all masturbate. But like, seeing like how like maybe if you meet a girl, like, that you like, it's more of a warning, because like a lot of guys probably like meet a girl they're liking, and like, not realizing the camera's on and stuff, everything, like how that can go wrong. And like,
Mm.
like, and it could ruin your career and hunt you. And I think that's the moral of that story and why it's important, opposed to necessarily that, that he's masturbating. What he was doing was absolutely normal. And like, everyone does that. And like, it shouldn't be like something and stuff that isn't a privacy, but
It's
you
not
know,
it's not if you jerk off, it's who and when you do it around.
right. Yeah. Like,
Unfortunate. You
yeah,
can't just run around doing it everywhere. There's certain places you can. But Rye, one thing I do admire about you is that, and it goes to show that talent and a good piece of journalism and a good article and a good idea can rise above all the social media numbers and algorithms. Because even when you don't have thousands upon thousands of followers, you always find a way to put out a good piece of content, and it does get viewed. Even with,
yeah,
I don't know how many followers you had on Twitter, but you still were arguing with one of the biggest rappers of all time.
yeah.
So it
No,
goes to show that it's poignant. Your views are poignant. Your work is poignant. And everybody out there needs to go check it out immediately. Where can they go to read more of your articles?
So they want to go to Ryan Glover Media, WordPress. It's a blog, like, and you could just like, look up. I'm putting out content every day, so you know.
So let's start there. We'll go to that website. Go to my Instagram at The Ryan Show. There's going to be direct links to Mr. Glover and all of his work. And most importantly, his music, which he's here tonight for. So, in terms of your music, as we wrap this up, what do we have to look forward to next? Is there going to be another, maybe like a Christmas song that comes out this year? What's next?
Oh, I thought about doing a Christmas song. I would like to like, do something and stuff like, clever, like that. If I'm capable of doing a good Christmas song, I definitely would like to drop one. But I want to make songs, that people listen to. Like I want to really get like more radio play. I'm really shooting for like, to get in the Billboard 100, so like I want to do like more pop type stuff,
I'm excited to hear whatever it is you come out with, and please keep it coming because you got radio play here at all times.
Most definitely, man. I appreciate that.
Appreciate you and everything that you have going on. There's nothing like someone that is actually seeking the truth and doesn't care what anybody thinks. You will put that truth out no matter what. The world needs more journalists like you. It's an honor to have you around me, Mr. Glover. Everybody go follow Ryan Glover 187. You
Most
fulfill in
definitely.
the rest. You know what comes after that. This is the Ryan Show FM. The West Coast Marathon continues. And we're going to play something that makes a lot of sense if you know what Ryan Glover's @ name is on Instagram. Don't go nowhere. We'll be back soon.